How you doing, all right? Good.
Today is just a huge event for JetBlue. I couldn't be more excited. I couldn't be more appreciative of everybody that's helped make today happen as we finish hanging the second Sharklet, hopefully get the airplane airborne in the next 3 or 4 days. But this literally is making aviation history. Along with Airbus, along with our internal crew members, this is aviation history. It's the first one in North America ever to occur.
This retrofit is what we at Airbus call a production retrofit. That means that the aircraft left the final assembly line at Airbus already with strengthened wings, ready to take Sharklets, but it did not already have Sharklets. It came with the traditional wingtip fence. What our retrofit does is enable the structural installation of the Sharklet, but also an upgrade of the cockpit computers to activate a new load alleviation function that allows the aircraft to aerodynamically accommodate the Sharklet as well.
Basically what a winglet does is it reduces wingtip vortices on the ends of the wingtip, which increases drag. So when you add a winglet to a wingtip, you reduce drag, which reduces fuel burn.
This work was done right at JFK, done by our own JetBlue Tech Ops crew members, and we're way ahead of schedule. This aircraft will fly Friday and hopefully right back into revenue service on Saturday with fuel savings, longer range, and a more eco-friendly aircraft.
Our process out here on the floor is to watch the assembly of the Sharklets, make sure all the wiring modifications are done properly, and then now Now at this point, with the Sharklet's on, we're going to get into a phase of doing operational checks.
Crew members work directly with the maintenance guys and station everything else, getting all the tools, the lifts and everything in place, and everything as they go about needing up hand to hand to make sure it gets done.
I myself work in the structures group. Since I'm the A320 structures engineer that handles a lot of the projects there, I'm the senior engineer in the A320 structures. I was responsible for checking it and working over it and adding things or revising parts of the documentation.
Basically what the DC expects to do here at JFK is we support the line, all the gates, and work that's done in the hangar. For anything that's safety flight required, that's what we get involved in.
I've been involved with Sharklets for just over 2 years now, and JetBlue has been a big part of that all along. My business is not responsible for designing the Sharklet itself, but for finding all the different ways to get it installed on the aircraft after an aircraft has already been delivered.
About that video. Could somebody please call Salt Lake City and the Las Vegas airport and let them know there's going to be fewer tech stops in our future? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad you're here, and I think with that video, I can't think of a more compelling way really to show what the years of work that have gone into making today possible. I'd like to offer a heartfelt thank you to all of you for being here today. It's great to see everyone, the families, the crew members. I know it's a busy day today, but it's great to have everyone here. And I think it's awesome that we officially celebrate JetBlue becoming the first North American carrier to install Sharklets and the first airline in the world to retrofit the fuel-saving devices in service on our aircraft. Round of applause. I also think it's a great day to recognize firsthand the hard work of our aircraft technicians here at JetBlue. How about we give our Tech Ops team a huge round of applause as well. The Sharklets you see on Blue Yorker behind me are the culmination of a multi-year project involving collaboration between many business partners, particularly at Airbus, and many departments within JetBlue. With the addition of Sharklets to our A320 fleet, we will become a greener, more fuel-efficient airline. As the world's first carrier to perform a production retrofit like this, I think this project also speaks to JetBlue's history of innovation and being on the bleeding edge of our industry. I'd like to thank all of our talented project team, which included crew members from airports, airport operations, corporate communications, corporate real estate, dispatch, system operations, flight operations, JetBlue University, Ops Engineering, Tech Ops, and our great fleet programs team within the Treasury Department. That's how many departments were involved. Round of applause, please. I'd also like to recognize our speakers today. First, our very good friend of JetBlue, Barry Eccleston, the President and CEO of Airbus Americas, is here with us, without whom today would not be possible. And also our CFO, Mark Powers, and our Senior Vice President of Operations, Jeff Martin. Also, they're not going to be speaking, but I felt it really important to recognize a few other important individuals, not the least of which is Valerie Manning, the VP of Upgrade Services at Airbus. Valerie, where are you? I know you're somewhere here. Yes, there she is. Valerie Manning, Security, the TSA, Customs Border Patrol, the FAA, the Tower, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and all the people at JFK Airport that make us a success here. Thank you all for your help. And then finally, just a quick shout out to our friends at the Channelview School for Research and Aviation High School, both of which are here. And I might add, developing future engineers and technicians who will do future projects like this to continue to innovate in this industry. How about a round of applause for both of those institutions? I couldn't be more excited about being here today. I think this is an awesome milestone. I think celebrating milestones in JetBlue is hugely important. In case you're wondering, by the way, Blue Yorker's first commercial flight will be Saturday. JFK, San Francisco, JFK for the first 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And I know our next speaker is going to want to talk to you about how much money these things are going to save us, but please give a warm welcome for our friend, my colleague, our CFO, Mark Powers.
Who's excited? Show of hands, huh? I'm excited, but I'm not excited that when this plane flies to San Francisco, it's going to save us. Gavin, I want to get the number right, because you calculated it to $568.75. No, I'm not excited about that. Nor am I excited, I'm not that excited about the fact that this airplane will save, with the winglet, conservatively, $350,000 a year. That doesn't excite me either. And actually, once the whole fleet is retrofitted, we're going to save $45 million, but that doesn't excite me either. What really excites me? This airplane looks really cool.
If you love airplanes, this is the place to be today. And to echo what Rob and what Mark said, I think it just really does complete this airplane, and it just really makes this airplane really, really special. So thank you for being here today. I think it's especially special that we've got family members here. What a great time to celebrate. This Sharklet upgrade and what we're doing to the 320 performance is really going to enhance the operation, much what Mark has spoke to. These devices, as you can see, if you're up close, the Sharklet comes out 3 feet and it goes up 8 feet. And what it does, it reduces drag, and I think you probably saw that on the video. Barry's going to speak a little more about the specifics of the design and what this does for us. But something so simple is going to mean so much to JetBlue going forward. Now, what does it mean to us? What does it mean to us as crew members? What does it mean to us as an organization? To Rob's point, this airplane, no longer are we making tech stops. So that is important to us from the bottom line standpoint. And just think what that does for our customers. We have more reliability. This aircraft will be able to make coast to coast with headwinds. So this flight takes off for San Francisco on Saturday. We're going to have an enhanced wing with the Sharklet, delivering a better customer experience. Now for the crew members, what's it do for us? Because it burns less fuel, it makes this segment a little more profitable. That allows us to continue to grow the airline. And in addition to that, it generates profit sharing, which is good for each and every one of us. And also, we're good neighbors. We like being good neighbors as we fly. This makes this airplane more eco-friendly. So it really is a win-win for the organization and for everybody that gets on this airplane. To echo Rob and everybody else's comments, I could not be more proud of what everyone has accomplished to make this happen, especially to call out our tech ops crew members. To be able to do this in Hangar 81 with our folks in blue uniforms, make this happen, and they did it in half the time. So that's kind of played havoc with our schedule, and I know this thing was sitting here and we were anxious to fly it, but a round of applause for our tech ops folks, half the time. With that, I want to acknowledge one other team. There's a special team that was embedded with what Rob mentioned. That was the Sharklet project team, and they pulled together, again, just a great pull of effort from the leadership and also from all the talent here. With that, it gives me the pleasure to introduce the President and CEO of Airbus Americas, Barry Eccleston. Barry is a true friend and a true partner to JetBlue, and without him and his team, today wouldn't happen. So my pleasure, let me introduce Barry Eccleston.
Thank you, Jeff. Ladies and gentlemen, and JetBlue team members, it's always great to spend time with our friends at JetBlue. Apart from anything else, you guys clearly know how to throw a party, and we're doing that today. And we're doing that to celebrate this magnificent aeroplane with these incredible looking Sharklets that have been fitted. By the way, congratulations, because I can hardly even see the speed tape on there right now. Actually, we thank you not just for fitting the Sharklets, not just for taking this project on board, but we actually thank you for creating this project with the Sharklets. I first talked with JetBlue, Dave Barger and Mark and others, it must have been at least 5 years ago, maybe more, about the importance of putting some kind of winglet device onto the A320. You, of course, needed it for the Transcon. It took us a while longer than we had all imagined or we all planned, but it's here today, as evidenced by the aeroplane here today. But I really want to say thank you to JetBlue for creating this Sharklet concept and for making Airbus come through with it in the form we have. Why is this Sharklet important? Well, you've heard already from my friends behind me, not just the fuel saving. By the way, I've known Mark Powers for 20-something years, and I think I can count the times I've seen him smile on one hand. But today, I see him smiling, notwithstanding what he just said. He's very happy with the concept of all his fuel saving and the dollar signs that go with it. It's also important from the environment. We tend to be pretty big into environmental friendliness, as I know you do. And we're going to be saving something like about 1,000 tons of CO2 per airplane every year. That's the equivalent of about 200 cars coming off the road for every one of these airplanes that you put these Sharklets on. So it's environmentally very friendly, and I'm sure your customers will be aware of that. It's also going to give you a little bit extra range. We can claim 100 nautical miles extra range, or 1,000 pounds of extra payload on the aeroplane with the Sharklets. So for all kinds of reasons, for fuel burn, for finance, for the environment, for the performance of the aeroplane, these Sharklets do all kinds of magic. As Jeff said, it's kind of like an aerodynamic magic trick, because I'm sure you know this as well as I do, you saw it on the video, when you put the Sharklets on there, it keeps more of the air going over the wing and creating lift instead of disappearing off the end of the wing. You remember we have those little tiny platelets on there. These Sharklets keep a lot more of the air on the wing. This is good. This is good for lift, it's good for efficiency and hence the fuel burn. But at the same time, it also puts more load on the wing. Because, of course, you got more lift out here on the end of the wing, and that was the trick that you saw Valerie explain on the video about how we're going to use the already inbuilt load alleviation feature on the aeroplane to alleviate the wing loading, the extra wing loading that's coming through on there, and in particular when the airplane is flying through gusts. So aerodynamically, it's a pretty simple idea, but it took quite a while to put together and make sure it was not going to hurt the wing in other ways. So to my friends here at JetBlue, I want to say thank you. I want to echo on behalf of Airbus and on behalf of our CEO, Fabrice Bregier, a big thank you to JetBlue, a big thank you to all the maintenance team and engineering here at JetBlue, a big thank you to Valerie Manning and all the retrofit team and all the customer support team who made this happen on our behalf, and especially to make it happen in such a short space of time. So that's really about all I want to say. It's a great pleasure and a great honor to be here representing the Airbus team at this event when we have our first Sharklet powered aeroplane in North America and the first ever aeroplane to be retrofitted with Sharklets in the world. Thank you to everybody. Thank you to all my friends.
But what I also don't think a lot of us know is Airbus is the type of partner when Hurricane Sandy hit, immediately made a sizable donation to the JetBlue Crew Member Crisis Fund without us having to ask. How about a round of applause for that generosity? And speaking of generosity, Airbus has some gift bags for you as you leave, so make sure you pick up one of those commemorating today's event. It's great to see everyone out here today. Thank you so much for coming. Please take the opportunity to get a close look up at the Sharklets up here. We'll leave the stairs here, and also if you want to get on board our newest A320 here and see the interior, it's also great to see as well. Thanks so much to everybody and enjoy the evening. Thank you.